Again, that's 623-434-0939, or visit ilovecolt.com for more information.
If nothing else, I like you here just for the reads, man. Are you doing so
flawlessly?
Used to
be used to, hey, man, you want to read that? Oh, no, I got this.
Well, because I was so used to doing them for so long
and
stumbling through them. And then, obviously, like I said, you took over and started doing some of them. And then I was like, hey, you can take all those. One, you're doing good, and one, I don't want to do it. So, we appreciate you hanging out. Give us a part of your start to the weekend here. If you want to give us a holler on the Easy Sports Talk hotline, give us a ring at 602-260-1060. You can tweet at us at the Easy Sports Talk, at Ed Smith Speaks, and Javon Love at Javon Love, and that's Love with the L-U-V. So, real quick, man, I kept saying, you were out last week. How'd everything go, race-wise, and just, getting out there and being on the run?
It was a great weekend. Went out to it was a trail race, so a 22K trail race out in Calabasas. And I think I told you when I spoke to you that I didn't realize that where the race was is where the accident happened with Kobe and the other members of that accident. So it was there. I happened to come across like a mural about 1.5 miles up on the trail. But I didn't finish the 22K because as I'm running, there was some note to self. Read how much of an elevation gain there's going to be. So it kept going up and up and up. But beautiful, beautiful area. As I'm about 4.5 miles out, I come across this washed out part of the trail as it's on the mountainside. It's called a single track because if you think of a sidewalk and the width of a sidewalk, think about half of that or even 75% of that in terms of the way that the trails are designed. So it was washed out. There's about 5 foot length of the trail that was washed out with about 150 foot drop. And other people have been able to traverse it. I just couldn't. It was a mental
thing.
And I said, nah, I'm out. I couldn't act the way that I can. When you're at the end of a race, there's a person that's called a sweeper, so they're there to make sure that no man is left behind for the most part. So she tried to show me how to get across. She said, take your time, whatever you need. And I said, nah, man.
I'm out.
Nah, man. Screw you guys. I'm going home. So I went that 4.5 miles back. I said, man, and I was kicking myself for the first 10, probably for the first 15 to 30 minutes because I thought, man, why couldn't I get over that? But you live to fight another day, man.
Well, so, I told you when we talked, there's a whole lot of people, including me, that were sitting on the couch or doing the show while you were running, right. And you don't have anything to say, bro. Man. You got what you got in. Next time, like I said, you learn lessons from these things. Next time, like you said, check the trail first. Yeah. And now that you've seen something like that, maybe next time you're more prepared for it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Now, I had a pretty good weekend last weekend. With my North
thought
Carolina
about you, man.
Tar Heels beat Dookie in 94-81. Coach K's last game at Cameron. And here's the thing, bro. Through the history of time, like when they talk about Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor Stadium, they're gonna have to relive that loss. They could, it could have been in his last game, all his players around him, and they battled and they won. Now every time they talk about Coach K's last game, by the way, North Carolina beat him 94-81 in front of a sold-out crowd and all his players surrounding him. And what can we do?
I asked you about that when I talked to you because I was listening to Sirius XM radio on the way home on that Sunday, and there were a lot of people that said that they were calling in and they were of the opinion that was one outside of the championship. That was one of the biggest wins for North Carolina, and I wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and actually, when you first posed the question to me, I thought, because we've had bigger. And then I thought about it, the gravity of being his last ever game coaching at Cameron, and they beat us by 20 earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. So we were supposed to be the lamb for the slaughter for their celebration. For us to go in there and get that one. Bro, I scared pointing upstairs. I was screaming so much and so often to that game. I mean, and one. I was just, upstairs. He's like, Daddy's too loud. I was like, well, it's game day. So, but then we turn around and we get beat by the Hokies last night, so we don't get a round 3. As far as my Tar Heels, hey, happy Selection Sunday Eve, bro.
Oh, my God.
Happy Selection Sunday selection.
We might have to do a bracket. So send me a bracket.
Oh, I'll get you. Cam from Believe. He's doing the bracket.
Okay.
I'll send you that one. It's a $10 buy-in. I'll even pitch in for you.
Shoot, I can't say no to that.
I'll get Quinn the bracket too. He's in there with us. So, well, yeah. I mean, so and whoever he has a bunch of athletes, and so we'll see who. But yeah, we'll get into that one. Yeah, that'd be cool. So, wanted to talk about as a quick. Only a few minutes left in this segment, but did you know? And I was so surprised. Brittany Griner, in jail over in Russia. Arrested at the Moscow airport last month in February. And I was thinking to myself, how is this just now getting out? I mean, she was caught. She was arrested coming back into Moscow. Authorities said she had vape cartridges in her luggage, and she's over there playing as a lot of the WNBA players do. They got to go make some real cash because the WNBA is illegal.
They can make 7 figures over there.
Oh, she was reportedly making like $1 million or something like that. Her and Diana Taurasi did that for years, going to other countries and playing. But so she got caught going back in through customs with these cartridges and containing oil derived from cannabis, and get this, could carry a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Yeah. We forget like how liberal we are over here and how much freedom we have. Mm-hmm. You go to other countries, and I've been to other countries, I think you have too. Yeah. When you go to other countries, their rules are not our rules. Yeah. And like right now, I'm not sure like if you get caught with fake cartridges going through JFK, they might just take them away from you or something like that. I'm not sure. Yeah. She's been over there, and my worry is that with everything going on with the Ukraine invasion and stuff like that, and the U.S. basically ticking Russia off, she's got no support over there right now. Yeah, it's of course. I'm sure that they were probably trying to keep it quiet, as trying to do their negotiations behind the scenes. But now that it's public, and now that you have that, if you're Russia, it would seem that you have a bargaining chip. But again, is it one? And I'm just looking at it from the macro, not the micro. The one person versus the things that you're trying to do with the sanctions and those things to try to get Russia to change their mind on a lot of to be able to reverse course. But yeah, it's hopefully she's able to get home. And I think that when you think if it was made aware that one of your loved ones, you think of those people around Brittany Griner, was in such a situation, you don't want that. I would imagine you wouldn't want that additional level of awareness. Yeah. And I'll tell you point blank, this is one of the reasons. Many years ago, I was playing, still playing minor league baseball, and I was over in El Paso, Texas. Yeah. And a lot of guys used to jump across the Juarez and hang out and and stuff like that. I was that dude who was always scared, man. Because in like over there, you bump into the wrong person, get in a fight, whatever, or they just want to arrest you. They put you in jail and they just sit you there. Yeah. And there's no such thing as I want my lawyer and stuff like that. You just sit in a Mexican jail because you can't. Sometimes we are so we're spoiled in that way. Oh yeah, I have rights. You have rights on this soil. Yeah, theoretically, you have rights on this soil. But if you cross that, when Nika took me over to for what was it for? I think it was for was it my birthday? Anyway, when she surprised me and took me over to Mexico. Yeah. I'm not doing nothing wrong. If they say turn left, I'm gonna turn left because you in their country. Exactly. In my house, you take your shoes off when you walk in my house. No, I typically don't. What you typically do today, and that's how it works. You have to abide by the rules of the country that you live in, whether you agree with them or not. You would have to imagine that Brittany was aware of the contraband rules and stuff like that, because she's been going back and forth over there, I think, for at least a couple to a few years playing. I'm not going to call her out on she should have known better. She probably should have known better, as far as going into another country. It's you never know, but the can't think about how it would be plausible for somebody to become comfortable and say, oh, yeah, they typically let me just breeze through it. I'll just do this time, or maybe because you've done it before, you've gotten away with it. You just never know. And in other countries, they don't have bail and stuff like that. They just put you in jail and they let you out when they're ready to let you out, or have your case even looked at. Tell your parents that you're gonna be at the football game, and that one time where they say, "Hey, I'm at the football game too." Oh snap! What do I do? I'm not there. Oh my goodness! Well, I hope we can do something to help her out, man. Seriously, but we're gonna take this break. Appreciate you hanging out. EJ on the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 60 AM, as well as KSLX HD channel 200.7. You got us on the Facebook stream, Restream, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can find us all over the place. Be back after these messages, folks. Oh, you okay?
Clear.
Thanks, sir. And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show. Hope you're enjoying the start of your weekend so far. Got my brother in crime sitting back on my right-hand side here.
Yes, sir.
Getting it in. Easy Sports Talk. This segment is brought to you by
Milano Music, family owned and operated for over 75 years, over 50,000 square foot showroom and repair facility, 18 instrument rental depots across the valley. Visit MilanoMusic.com. That's MILANO Music.com, or call them at 480-827-1111.
And I was telling you before we started the show, I'm actually going to take my dad's sax down to get it polished and cleaned up. It's been sitting up in the office, since he passed. And,
Yeah.
I'm going to get it nice and tidied up and put it down here in this dining room somewhere.
There you go.
So look forward to getting down there and seeing Mike Milano and the family. Phoenix Suns, man, kind of just treading water, I guess, but doing what they're supposed to do. They're 6-4 in their last 10.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've been without Chris Paul. Had a tough loss last night against the Raptors, coming in here losing 117-112. Those games are expected. I'm kind of like easing up a little bit because right now after tomorrow night's game, they got a bye actually tomorrow. They're playing the Lakers. So we can count that in the win column.
LeBron might actually play that game.
He might, who knows, because he's trying to show out a little bit right now. Yeah, he's going to probably come with the Thunder. But I'm kind of easing up a little bit. After tomorrow night's game, right now we got 15, but 14 games left in the season after the game against the Lakers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Currently have a 7.5 game lead. And get this one, remarkably, the lead is over the Grizzlies. Not the Warriors. The Warriors have actually fallen back to third place. They've been scuffling a little bit.
People, it's interesting how people, the narrative, you make the narrative, right? In terms of, well, the Warriors might be losing right now, but just wait, they really don't care about this. They're trying to do some other things. They're trying to work on some things. You're trying to win as you work on these things. And I think there might be a little bit of concern there.
Well, they've been without Draymond Green for quite a while too. Is he that kind of glue though?
He shouldn't be, right?
It seems like he is.
Yes,
if he's not there, it seems like they have no ability to play defense at all.
Yeah,
I mean that's what they're
concerning.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
from their
point of
view.
You know, I mean, the good thing for us, like I said, is Chris Paul still out, 7.5 game lead, 53-14. Had a couple stumbles last week. Lost to on Sunday lost to the Bucks, but no shame in that because they were out without Booker and CP3 for that one.
Right.
Booker was in was the protocol, so they lost 132-122 on Sunday.
And your man Cam has been out since he had that game winner. Because I was out in Cali for that, and that was wonderful. I'm sitting there at the bar having the water, and
trying to get hydrated for the race, right? Trying to get hydrated.
And so when he hit the game winner, and he's been out since. And I think when you see some of these situations, for example, I think there was a couple of late game errors on Mikal Bridges' behalf with versus the Raptors yesterday. That you have to, people that are not typically in those situations in those high pressure situations, this may be good for them because they're able to be able to
getting that experience,
that experience, to be able to say that I've done it before, or this is where I maybe failed. Now I know what I can do better, as opposed to never having been through any of those situations.
Well, the good thing is, they've shown, after that loss to the Bucks on Sunday, they followed up with a beat down. Well, they win against the Magic on the road, 199, but then a beat down of the Heat. And this was, Devin Booker was back in the lineup because he cleared protocol, but they went over there to the Heat, which I think they're first in the East right now. Let me look at that right now. I think the Heat are.
Standings. I want to say they are.
I had it somewhere too, but they are. I think the Heat are first in the East. Okay, so we go over there and beat them 90-111, and then and then obviously our next game we follow up with the Raptors lost here last night, but they're a little up and down right now. But that's expected with Paul out of the lineup. What I'm liking though is, like you said, they're getting some experience that I think will be vital. Because my thing is, and we'll talk about this later on. At some point, there's going to be no Chris Paul for real for good. And, it's funny. The gentleman, we were at the coffee shop last week, Coffee Zona, and Eric Richter, that's his name. He's a diehard. He's been with them since the, Connie Mack days. Okay. So, and he was talking about how this is probably the end of the run soon. When Paul leaves, then we're going to kind of, revert back to where I'm like, I don't think so. I'm feeling that winning, and I'm not saying we're going to be winning the West every year, but I think a mentality has been built. I think Monty Williams, great coach. I think they'll figure out a way where there's Cam, whoever.
They got to come up with somebody.
They got to come up with somebody
because Cam might be a great number 2 at all times.
Yeah,
and can maybe get you through a stretch if your number 1 is injured. And so it's, who do we find to be that number 1? Because I think the for those diehard Suns fans, they might not be completely sold on maybe Cam as being that transition to the number 1.
Well, the good thing is right now we don't have to worry about that. I do think there's time though for them to either do something in the draft, and today's NBA draft, usually one player each in the first round. But there's always free agency. I think what the Phoenix Suns have done, and this is interesting. For a while, after like the Barclays and some people came here, it was like you could get anybody to come here free agent wise to play with this organization. I think something had to do with ownership and the direction and the fact that they were perennial losers. But it was like nobody wanted to come here. I think this last stint though will open up the door to some players thinking, I want to go play with Booker. I want to go play with Ayton. So I think that could be a possibility in terms of, I don't think we're just going to fall off the mountain or fall off the cliff.
I wouldn't anticipate it. But isn't it funny because again, this has been pointed out to me. The fan these days, I'm a diehard Lakers fan, right? So
Mhm.
I'm not trying to make this about the Lakers because I think you get where I'm going.
Yeah.
Is that for the most of my life, the Lakers were that perennial contender, but for the last 10 years, aside from that
Bubble year.
spike, that we've been also rans. We've been forgotten. We've been just a side note. And so it's easy because if you have that recency of either a lack of success or an abundance of success, how you can feel that there's more of whichever one of those that you've been getting that's on the horizon. With the Suns, I think because of the recency, if you look back 5, 10 years, their recency is that we've had bad luck, we've had bad situations. But if you feel that you have ownership is still the same that they've had, so that's not going away. But if you look at the people that are in place to make those decisions, and you look at the GM, you look at the coach, if nothing else, those people should be able to attract some free agents or people that want to come here. And then plus the experience of players such as a Chris Paul that have been here, veterans that will tell you like it is, if they're happy or not, and you can be able to see that. And I think that will speak volumes and hopefully be able to serve as that magnet for those free
How much
agents.
tread do you think Chris Paul has on the tires? I mean, stretching him out another 2 years might be really far fetched.
I think you're right.
Yeah. I mean, they might have that intention, but I think like these injuries that they pile up, and he's not a big dude, and he's getting up there in age, just worn down, and these hands and these ankles and whatever he's going through. I just think it's going to start to accumulate and continue more on a consistent basis.
If you think about it, and again, I like the intensity of a Chris Paul. So but y'all gotta hear me. Y'all gotta hear me and hear me well. He gets injured a lot like Anthony Davis, right?
Not as much as Anthony Davis is.
Can you count on Chris Paul to go down every season?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you can count on Anthony Davis going down 3 or 4 times this season.
I didn't say frequency.
Okay.
No, but there's always that. It's not if Chris Paul is going to go down or miss some time. It's when will he miss some time, and that can. And as much as you hear about it, you read about it, how he really is trying to take care of his body, changing his diet, all those different things. But there's only you come to a point where you come to that tipping point where no matter what you do,
2 minutes.
It's just genetics and it's just whatever it's going to be. But having said this, so you have to groom whoever's going to be that replacement.
Yeah.
The question will be: is Chris Paul, because as competitive as he is, and knowing that he's closer to the end than he is at the beginning, is he going to be willing to say, "I'll train you to be my replacement"? I don't know Chris Paul, but I would say that probably not.
I have faith that he'll do the right thing in terms of whoever's behind him, bringing him along. But right now, he's the general of his team, and in his mind and in reality as well.
Yeah.
So I don't expect him to take any second steps. With about a minute or so to go, I do think we got to give some props to DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
That dude has been playing his butt off.
Yeah.
Even against the Magic earlier this week, 21 and 19.
Yeah.
19 boards.
Got a rebound though.
Got a rebound. I know. The thing that I like though is we have heard nothing, no grumpiness or anything about this contract talking like somebody else in this city. And I he's out there balling.
Yeah.
I guess as we get into the offseason and stuff like that, we'll figure out what they're going to do with this contract.
Yeah.
But he'll be unrestricted. No, he'll be restricted free agent.
Yeah.
So they can match whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think he might be that dude that's like, I don't want me to sign me to long term extra,
I'm out, y'all.
We'll see.
They'll get him back. I think they'll get him.
We'll come back and give an update on Chris Paul's injuries we're talking about, and then we're talking a little bit about your Lakers as well and other things going on around the NBA. Thanos is acting up a little bit.
Yes,
Appreciate you hanging out. Easy J on the Easy Sports Talk Show, KDUS 1060 AM. KSLX HD channel 200.7. You can catch us on the Facebook, the Easy Sports Talk Show page. You got us on Restream, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it. Be back after these messages, folks. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend.
Are you okay?
Thanks, Aaron.
Not the morning work blues. Relax.
Hey, there you go. Welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show. Good one right there. That one came on with the club, bro. That was it. Everybody on the damn show for that one. This segment right here is brought to you by
Majestic Services. Contact Majestic Services to do all the dirty work around your home or business. Majestic Services will pressure wash your driveways, awnings, pool decks, sidewalks, receiving docks, and more. Call Majestic Services at 602-614-9401. Again, that's 602-614-9401, or go to majesticservices.net for your free, no obligation quote today.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about the Suns and get into your Lakers here. One I wanted to talk about with Suns, just kind of wrap up with the Chris Paul injury. A lot of people don't even know what he really hurt. He and I did for a while. I didn't either. I just know he hurt his hand, and then they called it an avulsion fracture. So let me see, out 6 to 8 weeks, basically a thumb injury, and the report was that he had no surgery on it. Most avulsion fractures can be treated simply with resting and icing. That's a long time to miss for something that you just need to rest and ice, but with no surgery. Most of the time, there's surgery involved. And an avulsion fracture is when a small chunk of bone attached to a tendon or ligament gets pulled away from the main part of the bone. So I guess you can't go in there and repair bone. So it's just basically a little floaty in there or something. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I had a few of those, but the prognostication has him out 6 to 8 weeks. So I looked at a timetable. If he's out the full 6 weeks, so the injury happened on February 16th. If he's out the full 6, it would be April 3rd, which is still about 3 weeks ago or 3.5 weeks away. But April 3rd, he would be making a return, and then you got a few games that week. That's a big week. Thunder on the 3rd, Lakers on the 5th. I thought we were done with the Lakers. Seems like we're paying them a bunch this year.
Probably only think it's 4 or 5 times a year, right?
Really? Well, maybe because last year was an abbreviated year, so I think you only played them 3 times. This seems like a lot of games against the Lakers. Those are good wins, though, so you want to stack those up.
I can't what you're saying there, man.
Then they got the Clippers that week as well. So if he's out 7 weeks, he doesn't come back till April 10th. They got a game against the Kings. If it's the full 8 weeks, that means by the time he comes back, the NBA playoffs will have begun. And then obviously anything after that.
Avulsion is like a fracture, right?
Something like that. Like I said, I would just assume it was a fracture. A lot of times they go in and repair stuff. I don't know whether they put.
I remember I got really upset back in my freshman year at college, and I hit a Coke machine, and so I messed with my thumb. No, it was my pinky. Well, I had a little fracture. Maybe I had an avulsion.
Maybe you did.
Yeah, and so
you about 6 to 8 weeks.
They put a little splint on there for a couple of weeks, and I was mad.
Well, you see my finger here, don't you? My little left ring finger.
Yeah.
That was more than a fracture. That one got dislocated and dislodged and stuff like that.
What's my man got that's on ESPN? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, with the
Woo!
North and South. I only got one, so I'm blessed to say I only got one. But so we'll see when he comes back. My worry is, just one good thing, because it's an upper body injury, because he can go out and condition like this was a knee or an ankle or something like that.
Right.
He'd be slowly trying to get back into shape. Yes. Whereas there's no such thing as you can't match game shape, but at least he's probably on the bike, he's doing some drills, running, keeping his cardio up. Yeah. So that won't be the issue. The issue will be when he comes back with that, especially because it's shooting hand. Mm-hmm. Those are, if you're coming back to a game of contact, like when
you're diving for a ball,
dudes will slap dudes. I mean, they'll intensely go after it as well. Yeah. So we'll see what pain threshold is, but it'll be interesting.
Don't play Reggie Jackson or who am I thinking of? Somebody on the Clippers as well. I mean, those dudes.
Oh man. Oh yeah, they'll go right after it. So, but it'll be interesting. We'll see how he comes back and what what kind of comes up from there. But like I said, I'm loving the fact that we only have 15 games left right now, 7.5 game lead, unless they go into a total free fall, which they can because they have the Lakers on their schedule at least 2 more games. That's 2 wins right there. Yeah. You don't have to worry about.
I'm just trying to ignore you. No, but here's where you can be. Here's where you can be concerned, right? Because even if you because of the distance between number one and number two and all those things that you can. It's not the number one spot that you're worried about giving up, but it's about how you're playing as you go into the playoffs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So being able to look at how if Chris happens to be out again, do we have confidence in Payne to be able to get us through to help us to win the series?
Mm.
I'm not so sure about that. It's those things because on the macro, the season is still great, but when you start to break it down and look at it in the smaller chunks, what are the things that we can do to be able to get somebody have our players to get us over the hump? And that's where this is where one of those situations where Booker has to maybe take on a little bit more. But then you ask, well, he's been doing so much already, and if we're trying to get into the playoffs to make sure that we have a long run into the playoffs, we don't want to play him so much down the stretch that it becomes that he's really tired once the playoffs come. And that's the balancing act that you play as Monty does.
Let me ask you something. We always talk about expectations, and they kind of grow with, as things kind of, like they've been in first place basically the entire season, correct?
Yes, sir.
Have we gotten to a point like what is this team championship or bust, or if we make the NBA finals, or heaven forbid just the Western Conference Finals, we don't bring home the trophy? Is this season a bust?
I think it's trending towards that. Yeah, because if nothing else, the way you performed it, not only what happened last season, but if we look at what happened, the way that they were consistent all of last season. So it wasn't as if towards the end they caught fire, but they've been consistent all season, all last season, and then coming into the season, also being very kind of picking up where they left off.
Mm-hmm.
So we know, given the situation where the window with Chris Paul is not a 5 or 6 year window; it's a smaller window. And so you never know when you come back from every team isn't a vacuum because we don't know how somebody getting paid will influence the success of the team and that type of stuff. Yeah, I think it's championship or bust.
I'd be interested if anybody out there wants to give us a ring on that. Let us know your thoughts. 602-260-1060, the Easy Sports Talk Hotline. But I'm kind of getting to that point myself where, you said a couple of years ago, like going into last year, that was like a surprise. They got always in the NBA Finals, and then they caught some breaks. This guy with LeBron, AD down, Kawhi goes down. We just seem like to get every break against everybody we were playing. And now this year, from start, after 1-3 start, we have just blitzed through this schedule.
Yeah.
And going on the road and done things great without Paul. Done. So yeah, we're at a point now where I'm almost like, wow, if we don't win a championship, I'm gonna say it's not a failure, but it's like you said, that window is tight. You can't look at this and think, well, we got next year, because you never know with Chris Paul from 1 year to the next.
But isn't it? I know a lot of people tend to say that. Isn't it always you catch breaks during the championship run? Like, for example, when you guys went up against the Vikings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that kicker had missed a field goal
in 2 years. Yeah.
So there was a break that was needed for you to be able to get to that. I mean, little minor things going away.
That was an action. That was an action break, though. Like what I'm saying, like with the Suns,
right? It
was like everybody they were facing, AD's down. Then we played Denver and whoever was that. Somebody was down and Kawhi is down. Performance-wise, you're always looking to take advantage of what the other team does, and that's a great point in terms of how we won the NFC Championship game. But like the Lakers or the Suns last year, seemed like they caught all those good, just right at this right time. He's down, so we'll see.
Yeah, when you play Mr. Glass in the first round of the playoffs, things happen.
I know that's right. So, so quickly on your Lakers, man. LeBron, he's showing out right now.
I mean, he speaks. He's vocal. He doesn't hide anything. LeBron will let you know exactly what is on his mind. He does not play games.
That is the most passive-aggressive dude I've ever met in my life. I mean, you even said to yourself, he scores 50 the other night. Not this one that he just did, but he scores 50 the other night and decides to take the next day off, to almost prove, what they can and can't do without him.
Yeah.
And he's the man. Let me ask you this real quick. This is not a championship season for the Lakers. If they were smart, they would almost start monitoring his minutes. But he's going off to that scoring title. One scoring title for this season, and he's chasing Malone and Kareem, I think. So he's not sitting down anytime soon.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah. Look, man, I'm gonna tell you like this, Playboy. What I've heard people say that they should maybe rest people or try to get ready for next season. Next season looks just as bleak.
As bleak as this one, yeah.
Just as bleak unless you make some major moves, and that's in this. A lot of this is because they have allowed LeBron to have so much influence when it comes to the shaping of the roster.
Westbrook is a total mess too. I mean, I don't know what you do with that contract or to finish this season is bad.
Yeah, I do want to ask you about something along those lines. Of Westbrook.
You want to do it next segment? Okay,
Yeah,
we'll take this break, come back. We got a bunch of great things to talk about. And remember, Max Rossiter is doing this at 11 o'clock, top of the hour. Talk ASU baseball. Hope you're having a great start to the weekend, folks. Easy and Zay on the Easy Sports Talk Show. KDUS 1060 KSLX HC Channel 100.7. Be back after these messages, folks.
Are you okay?
Clear.
Cause I got money now. I ain't gonna sit around and front like I ain't thought about
Your life.
it.
And welcome back to the ENC Sports Talk Show. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. I want to give a shout out to Coach D'Alicio, getting his 2 hours in now, man.
Yeah,
Seamlessly, too. So he leads in now to our show every Saturday from 8 to 10. Make sure you check out the Varsity Sports Show. You got a question before you left out?
Yeah. So you had mentioned Westbrook.
Yeah.
And so there have been somebody asked him, I want to say it was early last week, or either early this week, about will he take this loss home with him?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the end of last week, but I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And he said, nah. And I wanted your thoughts on that, because if I'm working in the corporate world, if I'm in sales, or if I'm an engineer, or if I'm whatever it is, and I have a bad day, I shouldn't take that bad day home with me, right? I gotta leave that where it's at and do my thing. But you have fans that will say, no, you need to go home and you need to get in the gym and do X, Y, Z, and you need to wear this, you need to soak this up because I'm a fan of the team, therefore, and I don't like the loss, and therefore you have to take this home with you. I don't agree with that. I think you have to have that work-life balance. I understand that they are athletes, but you got to have a work-life balance.
Well, let me see. I turned my chair to you a little bit here.
I'm ready.
For someone of Westbrook's stature, I've never been at that point
Right.
in my career, like, multi-billion-dollar contracts and stuff like that. Somebody like him is almost like, he might want to give the double salute to the fans because, hey, I'm a millionaire and I'm going home. What are you going home to?
Right.
But I guarantee you,
Okay.
I've been on the field before playing minor league baseball at almost the highest level, AAA, and I've been in the NFL. Fortunately, I was never booed in the NFL because I never did anything stupid enough to be singled out,
Right.
But as a professional athlete, baseball player on the field, you're in a slump. You come up and, fans are on you, whether it's at home or on the road.
Yeah.
I've been booed before.
Okay.
And do you take it home with you?
Especially that you told me about that one story.
Which one?
It was the story when you were sitting in the stands.
Oh, yeah, over at the Dominican Republic. Yeah. That was a fear for my life in that one. But, bro, you do take it with you. If any athlete, any competitor,
Okay.
you talk about being a salesperson. How many times you've been in like those? It's come down. We've done RFPs and stuff like that. Long sales process. You're battling. You know who you're battling against. You come in, you do your presentation. You know who's coming in behind you.
Right.
Then they finally make the decision, and boom, you get the law. You get the L.
Yeah.
And you're talking about that's just in sales, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you're doing your presentation and you got people like in the room, boo, suck, boo, boo, go get a drill job, right? And then they make the announcement right there in front of everybody. We're going to give it to such and like, and everybody's cheering like, boo, you suck.
So let me tell you about the sales predictions. Boo!
Here's our chart.
The first quarter prediction is you suck. Go home. We don't want you here.
Bro, I'm telling you, it's as hard as you want to be. I'm not taking that home with me. Why? I got two beautiful kids. Man, you go home and you go in your room and you sit there and you might cry sometimes because of. So, I mean, you could talk.
But isn't the challenge, or is it, when I say the challenge, is it the challenge to try to be able to get to the point where maybe on the ride home or when you're sitting in the locker room and you're really upset about the way you performed or the way in which you didn't elevate your team, but you have to, if that spills over into the way you interact with your wife or with your significant other, with your kids, doesn't that go against kind of what it means to try to have?
Yeah, here's the thing: we're all human.
Yes.
When we're all human, I don't care how much money you make.
Right.
I guarantee you, there are times when LeBron is Superman as he thinks he is. Yeah. I guarantee you, he hears the stuff. He's looking at his record right now. And there are times when because he's elevated his game, but he still has not elevated everybody around him like he used to, and he might not be able to do that anymore. Yeah. But I guarantee you, there are days when even Superman goes home and doesn't want to talk to Lois, for a few minutes because it does affect you. Right, and, I was fortunate when I was playing, most of the time I would go home to my quiet for a little bit and reflect on how good or bad it was. And sometimes it was bad. You know when you have a bad game. And like I said, for Westbrook, I guarantee you, he feels it. And, that's why he'll throw the vitriol out there but like I said, wants to give the two salutes. But I mean, you can't escape it, bro.
It could be the same thing as with, like, if you're a GM of a team, like Steve Keim, or you're the head coach of Kingsbury, where you hear all these things and people are saying all these awful things about you. and you still got to go and do your job, and then not try to carry that on with you, and maybe fall into different vices that might
Yeah.
some type of escape.
And I mean, some people are, like I said, that's why some people meditate. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of different coping methods.
Yeah.
Like I said, mine was peace and quiet. Like I just had to get away for a minute.
Yeah.
But I guarantee it does. Like, so you can say it doesn't affect you,
Yeah.
but it gets at you.
Yeah.
Boo.
You walking in, you got the tie,
Tired of suit.
All right, so this one, boo! You suck it, boo! You suck. You weren't even good enough to be promoted to sales. You suck.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And like I said, the key part, man, I've heard everything you can imagine from coming from the stands. There were times, especially we were on the road, whether it be baseball or a lot of football. I mean, football fans, but they get started early.
And they just,
they get started early. They get liquored up, I mean, there are times when, because you're supposed to have that mentality like nothing's gonna bother me. There were times when we would hear things, we would literally like look over our shoulders, like, really? You're gonna go there? Like this that's how bad it gets sometimes. And I always, it's funny because the players always, like if they go like Westbrook, he's pointing at somebody and they're going out. He should be bigger. He should be better than that. Why is he, interacting and shame on him? It's like, you know what some of these people say sometimes?
Yeah.
Your first instinct,
zero or commas
exactly,
can make you say, "Oh no, that's good. We straight. It's cool. Don't worry about it."
Bro, I've been on the road before, and never myself, but holding dudes back, and it's like, you're like, hey, I'll see you outside. Once you wait for me outside the locker room, you know where it is, that type of thing. And fans don't want no part of that. I mean, they can. The thing about being a fan or saying some of the things that some of these people are even saying to Westbrook, they say them. If you were to bump into Westbrook, alleyway somewhere, hey, they would turn and run. Now they didn't want the handshake.
You're my favorite player.
Yeah, so.
Boo! You can't make coffee. Boo! Just start forward.
The next time you're in a big meeting, that's gonna pop in your head. You're gonna look around and somebody's gonna get up and you'll be like, oh, I thought he was getting ready to get up and pull me. So we only got a few minutes left in this segment. We were gonna talk because I wanted to get your opinion on what you think we got enough time to do.
Yeah, so.
All right, real quick then. Kime gets extended. I'm gonna give you the floor here. Kime and Kingsbury get extended. We talked about this on the Believe podcast, where you can find that where?
Believe.com. You can also find on EasySportsTalk.com. But yeah, just search Arizona Cardinals.
There you go. Give me your thoughts, because we talked about this on the podcast on this, because I had a chance real quick last week. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think it was premature. I think this is probably one of those where we thought that this year coming up was going to be the year in which everybody was going to be the spotlight was going to shine. And so by doing it now, you give either it's going to be a situation where we're going to give them their money. You have to keep in mind that people do not, that the money that Kime and Kingsbury are making, that is not under salary cap. So it's not preventing the Cardinals from making moves or doing other things. That's totally separate. But it doesn't necessarily make the best environment when you know that your starting quarterback is saying, I want to get paid. And they're saying, yeah, we'll talk about that. Oh, yeah, hold on one second. Yeah, we're about to go ahead and pay them. Oh, sorry, what were you saying? Oh, yeah, we might pay you.
And they extended the both of them on mediocrity. They haven't, and here's the thing, Jay. They didn't say, okay, we're just going to give you a couple years to see if we can put the – they extended them both to 2027. If you said we gave them both a 3-year extension because we want to see how we progress, no, they said till 2027, here you go.
But, okay, so I'm going to throw this at you. So if you look at when you talk about consistency, if you feel that you found the right person or the right people for their respective positions, then shouldn't you give them the up and down, the rising and falling action to be able to ultimately, hopefully, ascend to the heights that you want, that Pittsburgh Steelers model, so to speak, where you talk about that. So I don't know. That's the only thing that I can think of.
I would do that. I would do that if I thought either one of them was ascending. I think both of them are crescendoed. If you love that word, don't you? I think both of them have hit their glass ceiling already. Okay. Ceiling is the roof, right? So they already hit that. I'm serious. Kingsbury, is he the dude? I'm looking at him. I'm like, I see his potential. he is not a Belichick. He is not a whatever name you want to throw out there.
Yeah.
He's already hit his close to his ceiling. Kime as well, if you ask me, from some of the wheeling and dealing with no backdoor exit routes or anything like that. He's like, oh, here, give this guy a contract. You know what? 2 years or what? But yeah, this one too. Let's go get it. Give away draft picks. He set us up for failure, but you're paying him for success, in my opinion. And Kingsbury, like I said, has hit that top spot. We'll talk about that again here coming up soon. We're going to take this break. 1 hour down. We got Max Rosser joining us from ASU baseball here coming up. Hope you're having a great Saturday so far. Appreciate you hanging out, giving us a little bit of your time. Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk Show with Aaron behind the glass in the studio. KDS 1060 AM, KSLX HD Channel 2, 100.7. Never. We're going to take this break. 1 hour down. Be back after these messages, folks. Give it to him, Jay.
You can.
Ooh. You suck. Thanks.
Just that
the visual.
Ed, Jay, and the EZ Sports Talk Show.
Your life.
And welcome back, hour 2 of the Easy Sports Talk Show. Man, anytime you hear fight music, I don't care what your school is, it's just like it's right, you know. You know the best fight song in the world, though.
The San Jose State University.
That's D2, right? I thought I was talking about D1. This segment right here is brought to you by
Cold Artisan Beverage Company, the official beverage company of the Easy Sports Talk Show. One of the first to launch nitrogen-infused coffee. They offer everything from specialty coffees to a botanical infusion line of caffeine and sugar-free brewed beverages. Call Cold Artisan Beverage Company at 623-434-0999 or visit ilovecold.com for more information.
And we're going to jump right out to the Easy Sports Talk line. One of our favorites to have on the show is Mr. Max Rossiter, one of the voices of the ASU baseball program. Great to catch up with you, Max. How you doing, man?
Yeah, doing great. Good to have baseball back and good to be back on the show.
Yeah, the real baseball too. That other stuff, that professional stuff, you know, they don't tick me off a little bit. So, Max, just to start off, man, you during the off season, sometimes we just don't pay attention to things, and I apologize. I didn't even know that they made the program had made a change from Coach Smith to Willie Bloomquist. Real quick, was it just time for a change last year when they made this decision?
It was. I think the athletic department, Ray Anderson, just wanted to take the program in a different direction. Skip or Tracy Smith he's a great guy, great coach, but I just don't think he took the program where they were expecting or wanting it to go. So they wanted to change faces, bring in someone else, and Willie Bloomquist, amazing college baseball player for the Sun Devils, a storied major league career, and they wanted to bring in someone that bled maroon and gold, and Willie Bloomquist is the guy that does that as an alumni. And, the interesting thing about Willie is he's never had coached anywhere. He has no coaching experience, but he's a great baseball mind, and I think it's a great fit for the program.
So when you think about somebody who has no coaching experience coming in, I'm sure that there are definite advantages and some maybe challenges that come with that. What makes him, besides being an part of the alumnus, what makes him the right man at this time for this program?
I think the athletic department was thinking that the program was lacking that grit or hard play that the Sun Devils are used to seeing in terms of the baseball program. And Willie Bloomquist displayed that as a player. He's a hard-nosed player, wasn't the most talented guy, but he played hard. He played like a true Sun Devil. They wanted to bring that passion of the game back. And when it comes to a guy that hasn't had coaching experience, what do you do as a coach? You surround yourself with great assistant coaches. Yep. And that's what he did. So he comes in and he realizes, I don't have coaching experience. I know the game of baseball really well. I know how to turn this team around attitude-wise, but he surrounded himself with the great baseball minds, and that's the great mix of coaching. That if he doesn't lack something on the head coaching side, he picks it up on the assistant coaching side.
And that's a great point, Max. I love that you bring that part up. Surround yourself with those that know what to do as well. Coach Smith had a style. What is Coach Bloomquist? What is Willie's coaching style? Some are, what I mean, some are aggressive. Some are, it's all about defense. Some it's all about power. What is his kind of coaching style? And it's been a small sample so far, but what have you seen from him so far?
I love what I've seen from him so far. And it's hard because you look at the record, 7-9, and you think, oh man, not working out so well. I disagree. The style that you're going to see from Willie and his team, the expectation is hard-nosed players. The team is going to play hard for the full game, and they're going to attack the other team. They're not going to give up free bases. Are they going to walk guys? Yes, but the expectation is that we will challenge hitters in the zone with our pitches, and our hitters are going to grind out every single pitch, make it hard for the opposing team, and they're going to play hard. Does that mean they're going to win every game? No, but when you have that style of play, you're going to win more than you lose, in my opinion. And fans love that style of play. Last night, for example, they had a sellout crowd. Great win, by the way. But the style of play, the pitcher who went 17, Adam Bullock, the starting pitcher, gave up 0 walks, no free bases, and the offense exploded. So that's what you expect. We go out to and watch a game under Willie Bloomquist. the team's going to play hard, and that's what you love.
So along those lines, is it especially when from the offensive standpoint? So when you're at the plate and you're trying to make sure that you're taking every pitch, you're trying to be a little bit more patient. Is that where some of that growth some of that growth, that transition comes into play? Trying to really get players to lock in that way.
And that's just it. It's locking in. And when you play for coaches that say grind out at bats, I think every coach has a different definition of grinding out at bats. My definition is you're dialed in every single pitch. That you don't take one pitch off. You don't go up to the plate. You're a fourth at bat. It's just nothing blowout. And you just you don't have a plan. You swing it whatever, and you get out and go, oh well, we have tomorrow. That's not grinding out at bats. Grinding out at bats means you're having an approach to the plate. You're looking for certain pitches, and if you get it, you're attacking it. You're taking your best swing for every single count. And when you do that, sometimes you might swing first pitch, you get out, but sometimes you might work an 8 pitch at that. But it forces a pitcher to know that if you're not making a mistake, the hitter is going to be all over it. And as a pitcher, when you have to have that kind of focus, it just wears on you. And when you throw 80 pitches in a game, it feels like you threw 120 because every single pitch has been forced because the hitter was so dialed in every single pitch. And it's really a focus thing. And it's a transition, and that's what Willie's really focused on with the offense.
It's interesting, actually. We have you on years now, and you're always great. I can hear the fire. You're fired up right now. And here's the thing. Right now, the team is 7-9. Not a great start, but I think the direction that they're heading in, it sounds like they're building something. What are even with the 7-9 record, what are the expectations of this team with that slow start? What could they do, or what would be like an acceptable season?
Acceptable season, I think, is just give it your all. As far as you can. If that means make a regional, great. If it doesn't, it just means that we're changing the brand of baseball at ASU. And I'm fired up because as an alumni, when I went to ASU and played way back in the day, 12 and 13 now, that was the style that was expected. You played hard, and you never back down. And if you didn't play that way, you were on the bench. And that's how it should be. And that's what Willie is bringing back. And it fires me up because as an alumni, I'm so proud to see this program get back to that style because Willie's the perfect guy. And so my expectation is it's a lot of change this year. We've lost some players, we've gained some players. It's hard to put on, okay, we have to make the super regional make this a successful year.
Mm-hmm.
I think just change the style of baseball and the persona of ASU and have players want to come to ASU because of the way we play. That's what made this program successful in the Murphy era, the Esme era, and that's where I want this program to get back to. So if we get that reputation back, I think that's a successful year.
Again, we have Max Rossiter here talking some ASU baseball. You mentioned some new players, some players that are kind of holdover. It's interesting. I don't care whether you're in the corporate world or whether you're in sports, that when you have a new vision and it might be very drastic in terms of a change in philosophy, that there's some hesitation, there's some resistance. How is that going in terms of getting some of these players that have been with the program to be able to change their mindset and really buy in?
Yeah, it's a great question. And that's what I've seen in the past 16 games is the change of these players. There's a lot of new faces. There was a bunch of offensive freshmen that have come in, and Willie, did his best in the fall to make it a tough ball and kind of weed out the lower players that weren't mentally ready for his style. But now he has the players that he wants, and they can see his style during the game and the expectation. And what happens is it starts from the top. It's from the top down. The leaders touch the tone, and then the others learn from the leaders. And you have great leaders on this team that are showing a good example with the younger players, and they're saying, okay, that's how we're supposed to play. That's the expectation. And that's what you're really saying is the style and the leaders setting the tone. And some of the leaders are new guys and mostly returners with a different mindset this year.
So, Max, introduce us to some of the players and pitchers to watch on this 2022 Sun Devil team.
And the offense packed a punch this year. I mean, they always do. That's Sun Devil offense for you. The big hitters are Sean McLean, second base shortstop. He's I would say, one of the top MLB prospects on the team.
Okay.
Phenomenal player, comes from the baseball family. Ethan Long, our third baseman, All-American last year, double-digit home runs, big-time bopper. And then Connor Davis. He's a guy you haven't heard much of the last 2 years. He was a transfer from Auburn.
Mhm.
He played in the 2019 College World Series for Auburn, transferred to ASU, has been out the last 2 years because of injuries, and now he's back. He's hitting 4-hole and tearing it up. So those are the three boppers in the middle lineup. And on the pitching side, our starting pitching has been fantastic. Like last night, Adam Bullock, a lefty from West Virginia, the transfer, has been lights out in every start. He's a great left-hand pitcher, runs it low to mid-90s, can spin a bit. And then you have Kyle Luckham, who will go tonight, transfer from Cal State Fullerton, and he's been lights out as well. Then at the back end, Will Levine is the guy that can come in, really lock down the end of games, and a guy you can really build off. A big, high energy, 3 to 6 out stage type of guy. But those are really the top three arms to pay attention this year.
One of the things we're going to do, Max, I was just sitting here thinking, I was like, me and Jay need to get out there. We got to get our press passes and come out and watch some baseball. We got an interesting weekend. I looked at the schedule and you gave me the update yesterday. It's like you do things on the fly sometimes because they were supposed to play a doubleheader against San Fran today and then finish off with them tomorrow. But instead, you're playing one against San Fran today, and then you got them tomorrow. Then you got Missouri, who just popped into town. Explain that to me. They just popped into town and it was like, hey, let's get a game in.
Let's get a game in.
It's weird. Yeah, it's really weird. It usually doesn't happen like that. I guess what happened was Missouri was supposed to go on an away series, and there was some weather, and they were canceling the series. So Missouri called ASU. It's like, hey, we know there's good weather in Arizona. Do you guys have room for us? And Missouri is an SEC team, so they're like, absolutely, come on out. We'll make it work. And so yeah, it actually helped ASU because they're supposed to play a doubleheader today, but they play the doubleheader tomorrow, which gives pitchers an extra day. And they went on a long road trip. They had a 5-game road trip, and you need pitchers to get a little bit of rest. So it worked out.
2 minutes.
We get to play Missouri. It's a really good team, and obviously San Francisco is good, but we get to play a game against Missouri tomorrow, and it's again, you got to be on the fly, but I'm excited to see what Missouri has to offer.
We got about a minute left, so I want to just really quick. When you have a situation like this, it seems very unique and rare. How do you what am I thinking?
Pivot?
How do you not pivot? But how do you prepare? How do you film? How do you look and prepare for an opponent such as Missouri?
Yeah, it's different, right? Because you come into the weekend, your scouting reports are all for San Francisco. You're prepped to play 2 games today, and then everything changed on Thursday, just 2 days ago. It was so last minute. But with your question, I think it's one of those that you take it one game at a time, and you really don't concentrate on who you're playing. It's just you play your game, and that's when you are successful. If you play to your game, it doesn't matter who you're playing. Every college baseball team is very good. They have good arms, good hitters, but if you execute your game, that's the best shot that you have. And that's it is you focus is just whether we're playing Missouri or San Francisco or Oregon State next weekend, it doesn't matter. If we throw strikes, you execute pitches in certain counts, and if our offense makes it tough on the opposing pitcher, then that's our best chance we have to win games. And will we lose some? Yes, we will. But if you do that more times than not, like I said before, you're going to come out on the winning side because that's winning baseball.
Hey, Max, you are the best, man. Could you tell everybody where they can follow you and the program, and then love to have you back on in a couple of weeks or so, depending on your schedule.
It's great to be back on, guys. I love to talk ASU baseball, especially with you guys. The best way to follow me is on Instagram or Facebook at Max Roster. And also ASU Baseball does a great job on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook as well to keep you updated. There's in-game updates on scores in case you can't make it out or listen in on the radio or live stream. So tune in, and I love the fan support this year. It's been incredible. Like I said, last night was a sellout crowd. It's supposed to be another big weekend, so it's great to have people excited about baseball.
Absolutely, Max. You have a great weekend, man. I'll be in touch. And go Devils, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Max Rosser, the voice of the ASU baseball program. Take this break, folks. Be back after these messages. That was good stuff, man.
Yes, sir. You did.
Where?
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate you extending that one out, too, man.
Catch the Gottlieb Show weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060.
And welcome back to the Easy Sports Talk Show.
Yes, sir.
Remember, I asked you to send it over to me the other day. Man, I was sitting at the light the other day, and I was bumping this boy.
Yeah, man.
The truck was shaking, bro. And for anybody who doesn't know, this is my man. This is Jay. This is your original right here.
Yeah.
So you need to show everybody where they can catch all your
Just
stuff.
go ahead and go to any digital streaming platform and just type in Negro Leagues, J-Love, J-L-U-V, Negro Leagues, and then you should be able to find
And not just this song, you got a
Other
category of
songs.
stuff too. So this segment right here is brought to you by
E3 Cryo. E3 Cryo and Wellness Center is a health optimization clinic specializing in cutting-edge therapies for pain and inflammation, performance, and recovery, as well as an anti-aging and aesthetics. Services include cryotherapy, weight loss, bioidentical hormones, and peptide therapy. For more information, visit e3cryo.com. That's E, the number 3cryo.com, or call them at 602-899-2796, or just stop by their location at 35th Avenue and Thunderbird, 13615 North 35th Avenue, suite number 2.
And we're going to talk about baseball because baseball is back after having Max on. Like we were talking during the break, Max was fired up.
Yeah, man.
Max is ready to go.
Yeah.
And that says a whole bunch, man. When you're, I mean, he is passionate about this change, and I think it should hopefully lead, or hopefully it will lead to some, upward and onward for the program. Before we talk about the baseball coming back, I want to bring up a couple interesting things. Maybe we just have a conversation about this. Cardinals released starting inside linebacker Jordan Hicks this past week.
Yep.
And they also did not franchise Chandler Jones. So we know that in Chandler,
Yes.
he's going to be a hot commodity on the market.
Yes.
A lot of teams are going to be after him.
Yes.
I know he's about 31 years old or whatever, but he's still got a little 31, 32. So he's got some gas in the tank.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're letting him potentially go. You're basically telling Jordan Hicks, see you.
They told Jordan Hicks before last season. Remember when they
could not compete for the job. So
stuck around and had a great year.
And in my notes, I put paging Zavon Collins. Paging Zavon Collins. Please report to. Because Jordan Hicks basically saved their behinds last year.
Yes.
Because they had this theory that, hey, we went and drafted Zavon. He's gonna come. We're gonna just plug him right in. And sorry, Jordan. And Jordan hung around because he could have been like, hey, I want out then. Trade me. He stuck in and then balled out. Now, and there were games when we were like, did David even play?
Yeah.
We had to go down the list.
Simmons type of effect.
Yeah. So now you're basically, you're stamping this one like, okay, Zavon, come on up, step on up. You're the next contestant on and man, you talking about, I hope he can make that jump.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that's going to be a big hole to fill, especially if you don't insult the man, Jordan Hicks. I'm sure Jordan's like, okay, because I'm not coming back to that.
Yeah.
You told the first time, what it's like, you got good woman, you just keep dissing her, just keep dissing her.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden one day you go out to the club and see over hemmed up in the corner with some other dude, you're like, wait a minute, hold on. You're supposed to be over here. She's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Jordan is like, I'm okay.
Was it that Martin Lawrence? Somebody got your time.
Somebody got your time.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, and then like I said, with Chandler Jones going, it's going to be a different team this, coming up here.
Yeah.
Once again, though.
Okay.
This goes to not ownership. This goes to GM making these moves. Neither one of these moves sound right to me. They don't sound good.
And I question them. Yes, I do. Yes.
But we've extended.
Let's say if you haven't been extended, maybe he keeps them. You get extended, you say, oh, I got time to do some stuff. You gone. I'm building this in my image.
Here's the thing. I think you're getting rid of the wrong people. I mean, JJ Watt, we're just gonna hold on to that contract so we can get 10 games out of it next year if we're lucky. We're gonna let Jordan Hicks, who was the meat of this defense from time to time, and then Chandler Jones. Who wouldn't want Chandler Jones in there? On their team.
Isn't the secret or the secret sauce of any team? Isn't it depth? So being able to have some of that. If you feel that
depth,
you know that
you gotta have the talent. You gotta have a whole lot of depth. If everybody stinks, I mean, if you're one or two on somebody else's team,
that's true. That's very true.
You're just basically taking a couple of our ace pieces, and we don't need these. We'll just, hey, Zavon, come on, let's go. We can do this.
I wonder if it was something where going into the season, they said maybe they came to Jordan and said, look, man, you've done so great with us. What do you want to do? Do you want to stay here, or do you want to say, man, just release me at the end of the season? Just release me before the next season so I can try to go somewhere else. And maybe they say, cool, you balled out for us. We kind of had egg on our face, but we benefited because we kept you on the team because they allowed him to go and seek out trades. But I think one of the more interesting things is when it comes to Chandler Jones, do you have somebody that's going to be the next Chandler Jones, or to be somewhere even in that quadrant, maybe the lower part of the quadrant? Are you going to find somebody that's going to be able to do what he does? Because again, we know the sacks. And you tell me if I'm wrong. When it comes to the sacks from a position that like Chandler Jones plays, isn't it more so if he's getting double teamed? I mean, you want to see the sacks. You don't want to have five the first game, and then just a total of 10 in total for the season. But how he garners so much attention that it should allow other people to ball out, right?
I'm just saying they made a mistake, bro. I'm just while you were talking, I was like here looking. Yeah. They basically, with Hicks, and Hicks is only 29 years old. He's near the end of his prime. He's still in his prime, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. Last season had 116 tackles, 4 sacks, and basically they told him, goodbye. Javon is our man. And this is after he played last year, after they told him, you can't win the starting job.
You can't win.
You can't win. And then he steps in and does what he does. Man, I'm telling you, I just think, and for me, I'm reflecting back to what we just extended. We just gave a GM and a head coach who has a tendency to start off good and lose late, and a GM that has no idea what he's doing. We just extended him to
I
2027.
wonder if they're playing that Kanye West song "Can't Tell Me Nothing" every time when they walk in, when somebody tries to give them advice because of that contract decision. Can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me.
Oh Lord! Well, like I said, we're in for a wild off season. We still got drafts to get through and free agency, and we're just kicking people out the front door.
Starts next week, right?
Yeah, something like that. Man, I'm so sick of tired of mock drafts. We're on like mock draft number 816.
I thought you would like
God, they get on my nerves with those. Anyway, we didn't get any of the baseball stuff. We'll do that when we get back.
Yeah.
Also got some other football news around the league. Great show so far. Appreciate you hanging out. Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk. So good to have you back, brother.
Yes, sir.
KDUS 1060 AM, KSLX HD channel 200.7. Aaron behind the glass. We're getting it in. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend, folks. We're going to finish this one up. Got 30 minutes left, man. This one's flying by.
Yes, sir.
Be back after these messages.
Are you okay?
Clear.
Thanks, Aaron.
Every Monday night, check out Radio. Your life.
Boom shakalaka, the Chief Rocker. Welcome back, Easy Sports Talk Show. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. This segment right here is brought to you by
True Narrative Media. True Narrative Media understands in today's world, the visual aspect of media is extremely effective in growing your business and expanding your brand awareness. True Narrative Media specializes in telling your unique story, providing a wide range of video services for your companies and businesses of all sizes. For more information, call 623-335-0735 or visit TrueNarrativeMedia.com.
a lot to kind of finish up over this next 30 minutes, man. So much to get into. Baseball stopped the league, ended the lockout a couple of days ago. My thoughts, man. I'm not gonna say I've lost all my love for baseball, but it's deteriorating year by year. This lockout didn't do anything to like pull me back to the game. They did fix everything, according to them, and they'll be back real quick. I mean, they're going to be opening, like players are reporting over the next day or so now, mandatory. They should be all here by the 13th, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
So players have to report. They'll get all their physicals. They'll get out there in the field. A lot of guys have been working out. So quickly we'll jump into games, I think, within the first week or so.
I can definitely say on the minor league level because
some of the play, yeah.
One of the things that I do is I'm around some of those facilities at times, or one of those facilities. So I see that there are players that are here in the Valley doing their thing, not major league players in terms of
no 40-man roster guys.
Right.
So I mean, it's going to be fast and furious, and they're going to get right into playing the game. And my question is, is there going to be a fallout from this 99-day lockout? Our fans. Most true baseball fans, they'll be like, okay, we're back there. We're so excited they're going to be coming back.
Right.
But they're not going to win anybody who's not a fan. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of these young kids right now, most of them, the majority of them could care less about baseball.
Could it be? So 99-day lockout is different if the season had already begun and then they struck or were locked out for 99 days during the season, as opposed to, I think, what had happened in December, the beginning of December, the first week of December.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's 99 days technically, but it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit misleading in that way. When they talk about this is the longest work stoppage or whatever, but
it was during the off season.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like saying but you get what I'm saying. So I think that there are the diehard fans. They're going to be there. I was listening to some coverage of it when they reached an agreement, and there were people on that I listened that shrieked in happiness. Yes, because they are diehard baseball fans.
Here's the thing though, the difference in, like, say we have NBA fans, they're all over the place. You got football fans just galore. I mean, baseball fans, they're mostly regional, meaning they love their team, but they care less what's going on around the rest of it. And their demographic is really, really old right now.
Yeah.
Old in terms of the other sports.
Right.
Think about the number of, let's say, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids watching football with their dads and moms all through the season. And not just one game, they're watching the whole league, You go to basketball, you got a whole bunch of young NBA fans watching with dad and mom, going to games. Then you get to baseball, you got a bunch of regional for one, and then when we say regional, we're talking about Kansas City fans. They're only watching their team.
Yes.
They care less what's going on in Minnesota or Florida, or they're watching their team.
Right,
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
And then the age difference is, let's call late. I'd be generous if I would say like late 20s. I'm thinking 30s and above.
Yeah, for sure.
So think about the demographics below them, all those, let's say 29 to down to the 5 to 6 year old. That number is small for baseball right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure this lockout definitely didn't pull more in. It might have pushed some of the older ones out. You're talking about a dying game, in my opinion. Baseball is a dying game right now. And anybody who would argue that with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you think baseball is thriving and, I'm wrong, I'd love to hear somebody else's point of view. Give us a call 602-260-1060. But like I said, baseball for me is something at the professional level. We can see how excited Max was about ASU. But as far as like the Diamondbacks, okay, camp opens up. They have a big opening day, right? And the plan is they're going to get 162 in. So instead of starting the season March 31st, they're going to start April 7th, and they're going to do the whole 162 game schedule. So that means there'll be a few doubleheaders and things mixed in there to catch up and for those games that they miss, right?
Right.
After opening weekend and maybe a couple weeks into the season, especially if they're as bad as they were last year, where's the excitement?
Yeah.
I mean, you sound as excited as most fans probably are about this season for the Diamondbacks. Let me ask you a question.
I do want to go out to some games this season, though. I do plan.
Okay,
but,
we can go catch a couple.
you know,
We're going to use our press passes because I'm not paying for that stuff. I'm not paying for it.
That's why I roll with you. But here's one of the things. What I'm curious about you. I heard some of the opinions that because you've been in on the labor side of things with National Football League. The communication between, or maybe more of a partnership, quite possibly, between both sides in the NFL. You hear about more of a partnership with NBA, with the owners and ownership and players, but it's much more contentious and adversarial when it comes to MLB and the players, MLB PA.
Mm-hmm.
There should be more communication that happens along the way, as opposed to only when there's a deadline that's put down. That's the only time we talk is every 4 or 5 years.
You know what? The thing for me, Jay, is they came to this agreement, and most fans, you don't even know what they're arguing about in the first place. I mean, now like they throw the terms out there now, the threshold for the CB, the threshold for teams to have to spend to whatever they call it.
There's no floor. That's something that they didn't put in, was a floor. So you can spend. Yeah, we can't spend more.
Cheap teams are still going to be cheap.
That's exactly
The
right.
thing is now the players want them to spend to this level, and then you get caught for the luxury tax. Owners are like, I'm not spending that. If they're cheap, they're going to stay cheap. They're just, they're going to. They'll
That's
continue.
what they should have put a floor. And I think I heard with the owner of the Diamondbacks was saying that's one of the things that he felt that they missed out on, was the fact that a floor. It's not as if the Diamondbacks don't spend money at all, but they're definitely not in the upper echelon. And when they do spend, it's almost as if it's the same thing they talk about with the Padres for a while. When we mentioned it over the last couple of seasons, where I said the Padres go all in, they lose a few games, so we all out. So, but I think that's something to consider as well, because we can't go above this, but then we'll just spend as little as possible and get this revenue sharing popping off.
So I'm going to be excited because now we both live in areas right here near all these spring training sites and everything.
Right.
I was even talking to Quentin about taking them out to a game. It's going to be a real short blast. They're going to come in here 4 weeks, maybe, whatever it is, and they'll be out, but at least they're here and it'll help the economy.
I wonder if people have already made other arrangements. Again, when you think about it, because a lot of that, for example, Elijah, he's on spring break this coming week. So you think about if I lived in California and that was a spring break, I would have probably come out here if I was a baseball fan to be able to catch a game or two in addition to go and do some other
Well, a lot of people missed the window. And the other thing is we didn't have they're getting close. It was just like, they came to an agreement. It wasn't like you could plan ahead, because as far as we knew, this could have spilled into April and May and June. They were just that scared. So people didn't have an opportunity to say, hey, this is going to be finished by this date. Let's go buy some tickets. Now, especially like some of our closer states, you're over in California, and past years you might have thought, well, let's just take a quick trip over. It's only 5 hours. Now when gas is $18 a gallon, I'm not going to, So they're going to lose out on a lot of people that either already made their plans, and it's too late to all of a sudden jump back in.
That gas is a big thing.
Man,
I'll tell you,
bro.
boy.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story in itself. Let's do a couple quick stories. You only got a few minutes left. I'm going to throw some stuff out here real quick if you have a chance. Talk about this one.
Yeah.
Quarterback carousel. Rodgers stays, Wilson to Denver. So that, as far as our division, we lose one.
Yeah.
But Denver got, that AFC West is going to be a beast.
All right. So are you all in? Because this is the recurring thing that I've heard since that trade was made. So we have what is it? So we have Mahomes. You have
Herbert.
Wilson, Herbert. We have Derek Carr. Yeah, so are you that sold on Herbert?
I love Herbert.
Okay.
I love Herbert.
I'm just asking.
That dude.
This is going to be his third season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost as if they just have to They have
Think about
those
this, though,
chips
bro.
pushed into the center of the table.
His coach cost them more than anything. And fourth downs and stuff like that. Stupid decisions. He kicked them. He timeouted them out of the doggone playoffs.
Right.
This dude, they're going to have to come to a conclusion of, okay, do we like this risk it, no risk it business or whatever it is, or do we need a little more common sense from our head coach? So Herbert is the truth. You look at his numbers, dude, tall, strong, arm, and what I like the most
about him or me?
When I start off with tall, you should be like, you definitely ain't talking about me. Strong, I can lift a couple pounds.
Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Herbert. I'm other stories around Wentz goes to the Commanders.
That kid down the road,
bro, seriously.
Man,
Khalil,
keep getting money.
Khalil Mack traded from Chicago to Los Angeles to the Chargers.
Yeah.
Once again, that division getting trumped. Yeah. And then grand jury decides not to charge Deshaun Watson. These are things we're gonna have to talk about.
Full steam ahead with Deshaun Watson going somewhere. That was what they were waiting to figure out what is with that, because all the other stuff they can worry about, they don't. Seriously, they don't care about the other stuff. As long as you not going to jail,
there you go.
Let's do it.
Hey, we're going to take this break. We didn't get to all the good stuff. We're going to take this break, finish the show up after this segment. Hope you're having a great weekend so far, folks. Hit them, Jay.
You can.
You can.
Clear.
Thanks, Aaron.
Your life.
Hey, welcome to the final segment of the Easy Sports Talk Show. Appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time this weekend. Wherever you may be listening, wherever you may be watching, hope you have a great start to your weekend and a good finish to it as well.
Yeah, real quick, too. Yeah, shameless plug. Check out, go to wherever you find your podcast, search the Focus with Javon Adams.
Yes, sir.
Focus with Javon Adams. I'm putting out podcast. It's daily. So I've switched it so it's daily. But I have guests on, like Andy's been on the show before, John's on the show. It's a little bit more long form, maybe 20 minutes or more. But check it out. The Focus with Javon Adams, wherever you find your fine podcast. That's JAV Victor O.
And I want to give a shout out to my family. We're going through it right now. I lost one of my cousins last week, and then found out I lost another one yesterday. My cousin Lemmy yesterday, my cousin Charnel back last Friday. So I'm going to be heading back east this week for my cousin Charnel's funeral. Won't get in there until Wednesday morning, real quick in and out. Would always like to see my people when I go back. This is probably going to be a tough real crunch as far as time. So probably won't see everybody, but just to let you know, I'll be back. And really, like I said, the family's going through it right now. I appreciate all the support and everything I've gotten. And let me see. Thank you to all of our partners of the show. I want to get to something real quick here. Brother Hans Schatz and Co-Artisan Beverage Company, the official beverage company of Easy Sports Talk. Brother Mike Milano and his family at Milano Music. Frank Sturpey and the American Schools Arizona family, Coach D'Alicia on the Varsity Sports Show, Colt Mara at EIC Agency, with like Tina Smith at E3 Cryo and Wellness Center, Majestic Services, let Majestic Services come out and do your dirty work. I thank Brother Mark Twain Beaver at True Narrative Media and Brother Earl and Sean at Casual Sports Network. Aaron, thank you as always for a great show. We're going to have a real good conversation here in a second. I want to thank Max Rossiter calling in from AFC Baseball, all of our listeners out there. I'm trying to think about, did I miss anybody? Anything?
I do want to give a quick shout out, congratulations to my youngest, Elijah, decided to go out for track, and in his first event, he finished first in javelin, so he's doing javelin, discus, and shot put, so finished first. So,
Congratulations, man.
Great things.
There you go.
Can't tell him that.
And I spoke to her on the day of, but happy birthday to Beverly Stewart, one of my best friends in the world. She's like family to me. Happy birthday, Bev. Look forward to seeing you soon. And like I said, all of our listeners and watchers, thank you for the time. So we're a sports show, but we talk movies, we talk music, we talk everything. And I was so excited. I did something the other day, went out of my comfort zone, and I've been like itching to talk to Aaron about this. Last week, I actually recorded and watched Spider-Man Homecoming. That's a little off beat for me because I'm a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man guy, and there's a difference. There's Marvel and there's DC and there's all. So I had not ever tasted the other side, right? So I watched it, Aaron, and by the end of the movie, I was like, "Dang, this is good." So you know what I did, Aaron? I went out and I got Homecoming, Far Away from Home, and I got Avengers 1 through 4, and I was like doing all this research, and I couldn't wait to talk to you about it and let you know how excited I am about like opening up this new genre for myself.
I'm so excited for you. You have a great journey ahead of you. I would say. You've seen Spider-Man
Homecoming,
Far From Home, and you've seen you've seen Homecoming, but you haven't seen Far From Home.
Yep, I ordered. Should be in. I got it on Amazon. All the other Far From Home and the Avengers movies should all be here today. So I do have some traveling.
The newest Spider-Man movie, the No Way Home one that came out last December.
I was waiting for that because that's the third in the group, right?
Yeah. Do you know much about that?
No, nothing.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah.
Don't spoil yourself. If just hearing some of the things that you said already, I can't wait for you to watch that movie. But I'm super glad that you're watching those movies.
Let me ask you.
They're great movies just to pop some popcorn and just watch and relax, and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, and I've seen that movie, Aaron, so I'm not going to ruin it for him. But yeah, exactly. I know exactly.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, Aaron. So do you like the old Spider-Mans with Tobey Maguire? Have you seen those, or how would you compare those if you've seen them?
Oh yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I grew up on the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. That probably was my introduction to comic books. That was where I really started liking superheroes and comic books. Was growing up on the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. So I was I'm right there with you, with that being kind of where it all started for me.
And the thing I like about what I've seen so far with the other side here is they're introducing so many different characters, like the Avengers thing. Like it's almost like they're mixing everything together, and that's what I was most afraid of originally, because I was like, this is going to bog these things down with so many cameos and appearances. And in the end, there is what I like the most about the just watching, with him being with Stark and different things like that. It's like so cool.
No, totally. That's one of the things that I think, for me, like a comic book nerd, comic books are always so intertwined. In comic books, you have different characters coming into different, characters, comic books. So to see that being put on in a movie form, I remember when the first Avengers came out in 2012, and that first shot of all the Avengers in New York, it was like it was just like tears coming to the eyes.
Yeah, I'll say this as well, because I was one that was a little bit hesitant to get involved. My oldest son, he's definitely on to all things Marvel. And then my first one was with my Doctor. What am I thinking?
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. That's the one that got me. And then after that, I said, okay, now I'll watch the other ones. So I've watched. I'm not as ardent a fan, but I definitely have watched them, and so I find them to be entertaining. And I think Ed is going to be he's going to be enthralled for sure.
Well, so now what I have to do here, and obviously I'm going to get the second Spider-Man movie. I'll watch the third, and then I'm Avengers and stuff like that. Then I'll have to start picking apart or going to the other individual ones, I guess. If that's does that make sense?
There's a lot of
I think it really depends on how you like to watch these type of movies, because by this point, there's a pretty big catalog of Marvel movies that are all connected to each other in a way, but not necessarily movies you have to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it'd be odd. Like you'll just learn, I like my superhero movies that have more of like a comedy to them. Then maybe you go watch like an Ant-Man instead, or maybe you like fantasy and you watch Thor. But yeah, I would say I feel like it can be very intimidating at this point, having so many movies to watch. So I would say don't feel like you have to watch them all.
Here's the thing, though, Aaron. I have friends in small places, right? So I'm going to ask you a favor. If you can compile a list of what I should be watching, because I'm a movie man. I got the movies all behind me here. I will add to the catalog, and then just pick them off one by one if I can. Like I said, I would love an idea, and I could always just pull the list up, I guess, off of Amazon. But if you have any suggestions, obviously you know what I got right now. I got the 2 Spider-Man, I got the 4 Avengers movies. If there's anything else that on your hit list, you let me know, and I'm gonna put it on my list.
For sure. I mean, I think for sure once you get past a few of the Avengers movies, I think it's after the second one. Doctor Strange is a great one, the movie that Jay was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for sure that's a movie that I would suggest, because they're coming out with a new Doctor Strange movie later this year. So
let me ask
on his story and everything.
Let me ask you a question. Are you going to theaters? Are you going to theaters again, Aaron?
I go to theaters for the big movies that have come out. I don't usually go for whatever small movie comes out. But I went to go see the Batman the other day, and when Spider-Man No Way Home came out in December, I went to go see.
Yeah, I went to see that in the theater too. Yeah, that was
How was the Batman movie?
I really enjoyed it. It's not perfect. I think it's really long. It's an hour and 55-minute movie. And I don't mind long movies, but there are definitely some points where you feel that it is a 2 hour and 55 minutes. Wondering how far along in the movie you are. But overall, I went to go see it twice already. So even though it's long, I want to go see it another time. But I liked it, but it is a long movie.
A long movie. That might be one I wait. It comes out. Oh, there you go. Man, what I'm gonna do, Aaron, I'm gonna keep you up on my watch, and as soon as I see one, I know. As much as I like the first one, I'm pretty sure I am. So very pleasantly surprised, and thank you for
I can't wait for you to get through the Spider-Man trilogy. That's for me. One. That's another way I guess you look at it, is maybe just find a character you like and watch the whole series of movies. Like the Iron Man trilogy is really good.
Yeah,
Spider-Man trilogy is pretty good. and then the Avengers one. I think those
Okay.
would be the three ones that I would tell you to focus on.
Believe it or not, I already have the Ant-Man. No, bro, Iron Man. Iron Man. I already have all three of them. I've seen the first one, never seen 2 and 3. So those will be on the list now too. Okay. So man, Aaron, I can't wait to, like I said, as I go through them, I'll let you know. And like I said, I appreciate both of you not spoiling them for me right now.
Nah, man, that's it.
So, hey, we want to thank everybody for hanging out with us on this Saturday. Thank you so much, Aaron, for all you do.
Aaron you should have heard the excitement, y'all, in Aaron's voice when Aaron said at the beginning of the show. Aaron said, "Oh yeah, I got another one on."
I'm hooked. All right, we'll finish this show up. Hope everybody has a great finish of your weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with Easy and Jay on the Easy Sports Talk Show with Aaron behind the glass, dropping it like it's hot at all times. I want to thank you again. Hope you have a good finish of the weekend. I was going to have a good one until my Tar-Heels decided they don't want to play last night. Not watching any championship, conference championship this weekend. I'm a little too ticked off. But hey, it's
Selection
Sunday Eve. So get it in. We'll find out where we all land tomorrow. We'll get our brackets. I'll get you in with Cam.
San Jose State will be for 2
There you go. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back next week. Appreciate you. We out. Thanks, Aaron.
All right, guys, you were clear. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. You too. Thanks, Aaron.